It's New Year's Eve, and it's time to look at how Q4 went, and then also take a look at 2025 overall and kind of what goals did I have at the beginning of the year and how have things shifted? Because they have. Hi, my name is CF Claire. Welcome back to the channel. I really enjoy doing Sara Cannon's HB90 planning system where you plan for the quarters of the year 3 months at a time. So let's look at what goals I had at the beginning of the fourth quarter back in October. And after we talk about that, we will get into how 2025 went. We're not going to get super in depth, but I just want to pick out a couple things from the HB90 planning system because she has a lot of great questions to sort of like think about how things went at the end of the quarter and what you might want to do differently. So back in October, I had said that I would like this Q4 to be slower than the rest of the year with more intentional family time and really enjoying the seasons and having fewer writing goals. The word I had picked to describe how I most wanted to feel during Q4 was actually not even writing related, really. It was prepared for the holiday season because I'm mostly the gift picker for the family. And I really enjoy that when I have the time to do it and I feel like I don't need to rush. And I generally do feel like I need to rush because of having young kids. I have a 5-year old and a 7-year old now, and things are less chaotic than they have ever been before this. But yeah, I really just wanted to be prepared. I wanted to be done with all the holiday gift buying and thinking about holiday stuff by the end of October. And I feel like I did a pretty good job with that. I was finished with gift buying for the most part by the end of October, and I did feel noticeably more relaxed and I did really enjoy the fall time and December and all the holiday stuff. The other big thing that I had done differently in Q4 was I had started making little bingo sheets for each month, and they really just have seasonal things on them. And the goal was not to do everything on the list, it was to just remember, hey, these are some fun things that you would enjoy doing in this month. Make time to do it, think about it, be intentional, or don't do those things because of other life stuff that comes up and just write down why you weren't able to do stuff. And I really liked that. I'm definitely going to do that for going forward for every month. I think having that did help do more and feel like I really did take advantage of the fall and had a really nice time. So I had two main goals for this quarter, and I'm going to put on the screen my first goal. Technically, I did complete it. I'm a very heavy outliner, and I've been finding that I like to do multiple iterations of an outline before before actually writing the first draft. That's been really helpful for me right now. So that's what I've been doing with my current project, which is Project Goblin. It's a Fae dragon romance. I did complete this, but I had thought that the third draft of the outline was going to be a very, very detailed outline. And the way that it actually worked was that I altered a lot of things that were going on from draft 2 to draft 3, and I updated it with the new events and the way I wanted things to flow, but it was very minimalistic. Each chapter had like 2 sentences or a small paragraph of explanation of what was going on with it. I finished that probably sometime in November. And since I had so much time left over, I was like, I'd really love to see if I could just actually flesh this out. So I did start doing at the beginning of December what I was calling draft 4 of my detailed outline, but what in actuality was a zero draft. I was really getting into what's the scene happening right now? How does it progress? How does it turn? How does it end? How does that lead into the next scene? What are the motivations here? Any world building things that I had not actually fleshed out, I was trying to actually flesh out. At the moment, I am 75% done with it, and it is just shy of 40,000 words of the actual outline, and then quite a few thousand more words of notes about things in the outline. So it is rather a zero draft, I believe, at this point. It's bumped up in classification. So yes, technically completed, and then kind of a little bit more on top. My second goal is my B project is Project Demon, and it's the second book in this interconnected standalone series. The series follows a group of 5 characters who are friends, and each friend gets their own book. Project Goblin is one character from that friend group, and then Project Demon is another character. And I did complete this goal. I got the main shape of the story and idea of what I want to do with it. And then it's like a sentence or two about each chapter. So there's a lot more to do with it, but I did accomplish what I had been hoping to do with it this quarter. Let's look at what worked during the fourth quarter. I really liked doing, I'm looking at my notes here, by the way. I really liked doing multiple drafts of outlines from broad outlines down progressively to detailed. That works really well for me. I don't recommend that for anyone else. I don't like prescriptive writing advice is kind of silly. I also really liked my schedule, my writing schedule of doing 6 Pomodoro style time blocks, which is 25 minutes of working on something very focused, and then 5 minutes kind of not taking a break, and then back. So in kind of 30-minute increments. So 6 of those daily for 5 days a week worked really well for me. That's enough time to feel like I'm getting a lot of progress without overwhelming myself or having so much to do in a day of like, oh, I'm like trying to do 10 task blocks. So it's like hard to start. So 6 is a good place to start from. I really like the monthly bingo cards. Those were great. And having the big focus on prepping for the holidays, that was a huge stress reliever. So that was really good. Things that were difficult about Q4. I was so self-conscious during the entire fourth quarter of just of the fact that I felt like I needed to do so many drafts of an outline. I was just like, this is crazy. This is ridiculous. What am I doing? So it was very heartening as I was reading Story by Robert McKee, where he's a screenwriter and he talks about kind of just like how it's fairly typical for screenwriters to spend a lot longer in the outlining kinds of stages before actually drafting. And so that was like really nice. I really needed to hear that. Let me know if you're someone who also likes super outlines, because sometimes it can feel really I don't know, isolating among so many people who are just like can just jump into drafts without it being like pulling teeth. I don't know. I think that's incredible that people can do that. And I've tried it and it just hurts. It hurts. I don't like doing it. It was also a little bit of a downer to not have a project that was actually ready to be drafted, because yeah, just the past 3 months I've just been working on outlining stuff, and it is tough to not have something that I'm drafting. So I think I'm getting close to the point where I won't be in that situation and I'll always have something that's like ready to have some version of a draft. Fingers crossed. I don't want to be working during the week of Christmas. That's not a good idea. I was trying to do the zero draft during the week of Christmas too, and it was just like frustrating. And I don't want to make family get-togethers feel frustrating for myself. So I need to definitely schedule a break during that week. I didn't schedule any time off necessarily except for the weekends during the fourth quarter, or really like this entire year. And that's something I'm going to change as well. That after every major thing that I accomplish, like every draft of something, I think I do want to just schedule a week off of writing to just read, fill my creative well, do whatever I actually want to do creatively, and then get back into what's the next goal that I have for this quarter. So my Kanban boards, I need to change how I'd been doing them. I had every step of what I thought would be part of reaching the goals that I set for the quarter. And I had also had, here's like an extra credit thing that would be fun to do. And that was just a little bit too overwhelming. So I'm going to keep the extra credit Kanban stuff off the Kanban and just maybe do a list in my journal and leave it at that. And if I do it, great, but I don't need to think about it. It's not a thing taking up space on my Kanban board. As far as stats go for like what I accomplished word count wise this past quarter, I had no goal for prose. So my word count for writing prose is 0, which sucks, but it was technically planned. However, if we're counting the word count of all of the world building and drafting of outline stuff that I did, that is 192,289 words, which is actually pretty crazy. In 3 months, did that. That's nuts. So I do feel good about that. The fact that the prose written is 0 is kind of just a bummer. But it was planned, and 192,000, I mean, that's crazy. Just shy of 15,000 words written in the World Bible for the new series that I'm creating that Project Goblin is the first book in. The first draft of the outline of Project Demon was just about 12,000 words. This gets a little bit funny. I had been doing an analysis of the second draft I had of Project Goblin, the outline for it. So my analysis of that was like a lot of notes and questions, and I think we should change this. So that came to 109,000 words of my analysis, and then actually redrafting it into a third draft of the outline, that was just about 20,000 words. And then this 0 draft that I've been working on is, at the time that I noted this down, it was like 36,000 words. So I have been doing a lot. I've been doing a lot of stuff. Let's look at 2025 overall. I had 7 goals for 2025. I had planned to be working on my shifter contemporary romance series and my middle grade fantasy series. So you can see I achieved 2 of the goals and like partially achieved a third goal. I did outline that fantasy trilogy as like big picture stuff as a whole, and I did do the first draft of Project Conjurer. I did do the first and second draft of Project Chance, but I didn't do a third draft that was beta reader worthy. So the reason I changed directions was that I realized I didn't have enough passion to focus on the Shifter Contemporary Romance series as my first publication, because I do want to self-publish on Kindle Unlimited for the most part. And I ran into a lot of roadblocks with creativity and passion with that, and I realized that what actually was drawing me and fueling me was all fantasy, not no contemporary stuff going on. And with the middle grade stuff, I love that series and I had so much fun doing it, but I just don't have the time. If so, my main focus really, I do want it to be the romance series, because I want to write all 5 of the books in the first romance series before publishing them, because I want to take advantage of rapid releasing them every 3 months, and I don't want to be in the writing stage at all for any of them before doing that. I want like 0 pressure on myself, so I'd rather just have a pretty long wait time before actually publishing. So I just really want to focus my attention on that, and then I can work on the middle grade stuff when I have, a week off after completing a draft of something. I could just do it how I want. The new direction that I want to go in is the world that Project Goblin's in. It's a sci-fi flavored fantasy romance adventure world, the comp series being Cressley Cole's Immortals After Dark. It hinges on fated mates as the overall trope, with no humans, all fantasy races, traveling in space but no aliens, lots of fun tropes, romance centered, not romantasy, not the tropes you would find in romantasy. It's interconnected books that are standalone with mini-series arc. First series is 5 books, second series should be 3 books. I have planned out a lot of stuff. I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of creativity going into this. It's very exciting for me. I think it'll be fun to be in this genre for like a long time. And just some stats of 2025 as a whole. I wrote about 126,196 words of drafts. The first draft of Project Chance, which was that first book in the Shifter Contemporary Romance series that I was going to do. That first draft was 48,531 words. The second draft of it was a complete rewrite, and it was 51,410 words. And then the first draft of that Project Conjurer middle grade fantasy book was 26,255 words. My word for the year that I had picked was proud, that I wanted to feel proud of what I had done and where I was in my writing journey. And I do feel proud. I'm so happy. I feel like I really put in a lot of time, a lot of energy, and I feel like I am really proud that I didn't let how difficult some of these things that I was doing, how difficult they were. It didn't stop me from trying to do them, and it did teach me a lot of skills to help me throughout the rest of my career, especially skills involving outlining, plotting, and finding tools to sort of zoom in to the story on a very micro level and zoom out to the very macro level, which really help with a lot of writer's block type issues that have come up in the past for me. So that felt really good. I didn't have any goals around craft books, but some of the ones that I remember reading were Anatomy of Genre by John Truby. I didn't read the entire book. It is a very, very large book. I only read the genres I was interested in, which were fantasy, action, romance, mystery, western, and myth. Story by Robert McKee, The Science of Writing by Will Storr, and How to Write a Mystery by Lee Childs. And there was a couple other ones I think too. I just don't remember the names of. But that's good. There's a bunch more craft books that I really want to read, so I'll have to think about what what those actually are and make a list of them. So that's my Q4 and my 2025 kind of wrapped up. I'm really happy about how this year has gone. I feel like 2024 had been the year of really learning how to finish a draft, a first draft. And this past year was really, it felt like a focus on how to outline so that I am happy, how to outline so that I'm at the point where drafting is not something I'm dreading, because I have historically absolutely hated first drafts because of a lot of issues to do with not liking to put my thinking time at the same time as my writing time. So right now, all of these iterations of drafting are what I would classify as thinking time. And hopefully, when I go in to write, the idea is that I don't need to be thinking about how does this story work and what's propelling it. All I need to be thinking about is how do I want to put the words on the page that I already figured out how the scene goes. That's kind of all for now. Coming up, we'll do a video on Q1 goals and 2026 overall. And I also have a video I want to do that's 10 things I learned about writing or writing craft in 2025. So it's not really goals oriented at all. And then also I have a vlog on as I'm doing the zero draft for Project Goblin. So that's all, and Happy New Year, and I hope you had a great year, and I'll see you in the next year video.